This video is all about gold farming. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is MightyHigh and in this video I am going to showcase my zombie piglin farm. So without further ado, let's get into it. And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, in all its glory. And honestly, this farm is a really cool farm. So the design is based on Nembon's gold farm design, but then I tweaked it just to suit my needs a bit because honestly I don't mind the footprint being a bit bigger than normal. And also, as you might notice, there's a lot less platforms, but these are slightly wider and square. So let's start with the top and then I'll go all the way down to the bottom and show you how things are. So as we can see on the top, we are building the platforms out of magma blocks. So magma blocks have a special property where they will not let any other mob apart from pigmen or zombie piglins even, and ghasts. So we stop the ghasts from spawning by putting these carpet down, and we are also on the highest level we possibly can before we can't place any more blocks. Keeping in mind that we need a block to place the carpet as well. So that's how I've spawn proofed it. And it also means that technically you have a few more blocks to play with, but it depends how people like to use their farms. See, I like to AFK down at the bottom of a farm, but some people don't. And that's just a personal preference with this one, to be fair. So now we've stopped the ghast from spawning, how do we get the pigmen, or the zombie piglins into the actual killing chamber? And we do that by using some eggs. So these eggs are spaced out where these zombie piglins on this platform will see the egg from down there, and then this platform and this platform, they should be able to see this egg up here. So that's that one egg, and then the last bottom two is with this egg here. So there is a bit of a bug with zombie piglin and eggs as I found out building this, but this seems to work. So if I move back, then we can see them spawning and they just go straight to the center after they've spawned and then fall down into the killing chamber. And then we're just surrounding the eggs with trapdoors so that they don't actually destroy the eggs, because that's the last thing you want. So to place these eggs, all you really need is a block and an egg. So let's grab it. That'll do. So you need to place the egg on a block before you can get rid of the block underneath it, and then it just floats there. So that's how you place the egg, and then just trapdoors so that they think it's a block that they can walk on. The lava down here is so that it slows their fall down. As you can see there, it slowed my fall down, so that does the same with the zombie piglins, so that they're a one-hit kill down here if we so choose to get the XP from them. The reason why in this farm I don't get the XP from them is because there seems to be a bug with zombie piglins and egg pathfinding for some reason, because if I put an egg down there, they're not searching for the egg, although they're dying from the wither roses down there. They're not pathfinding to this egg, which is kind of annoying. Even if I put it up here and put the egg there, they keep pathfinding to the egg which is up there for some reason. So I think that's still a bug that needs fixing, because this works on the unorthodox server, which is kind of odd, because I've got a different setup on the unorthodox server where we can get rid of these wither roses and just have one wither rose in the center where you're going to kill them here, and then just swipe at them with the XP. In fact, why don't we go on to the unorthodox server and I'll show you. So here we are on the unorthodox server, and as you can see, we've literally got the same setup, but for some reason in a single player world, the zombie piglin, because I've got the eggs in a separate way because I'm using less eggs, for some reason in this world the zombie piglin are fine, pathfinding to that egg here on this block here, but in my creative world they're not. So I'm really not sure what's going on here, but if we fly around, you can definitely see that it's working on the bottom row. Let's go up here and I'll show you definitely that they're spawning up here. See, we can see them spawning, and down here as well. Hopefully we get something that spawns down here. Don't let me down now. There we go. And then pigmen just literally go to the center. So it works in this world, and I'm assuming it would work in your survival world as well, but for some strange reason it just doesn't work in my creative world. So let's go back to that and I'll explain the rest of the redstone anyway. Hi there, just popping in to say, if you haven't already subscribed yet, then subscribe, and also ding that bell and like this video if you get something out of it, because it really does help out the channel. Anyway, back to the video. Back in the creative world now, and as you can see, it's exactly the same bar from the egg placement, and I'll just show you that when I take away that egg, anything else that spawns on this platform won't attract to that anymore. For whatever reason, it just won't. So let's go back and watch some spawn on the bottom. If any do spawn on the bottom. See? Right, okay, we've got some spawned on the bottom. They do nothing. So then when we actually place some blocks here, and then we place an egg, then they get attracted to it. And I don't know why, it's strange. But regardless, it works anyway, and you'll get quite a lot of gold from this. I don't know the numbers per se, but it's quite a lot. In not that much time, as you can see down here, and we're not even killing them with a looting sword, and we're still getting a lot of drops. You've seen it throughout the video, but I should probably just explain the killing platform. And we're basically just using wither roses, which you can plant on soul sand and netherrack, and I think there's a few other blocks you can use like dirt and stuff like that, but it's narrow. There's a narrower amount of blocks you can place on now, but it still works on soul sand. And the reason why I'm using soul sand is because soul sand is just slightly smaller than a normal block, which allows us to collect the items underneath it with these hoppers. So these hoppers are just literally like laid splat across where the killing platform is, and then they go into primarily these 4 hoppers here in the center, where you would actually have the killing platform here. So that would pick up the majority of the items. Then we've used some minecart hopper trickery to get them in, so it's depositing from these 2 hoppers, and you can just about see if I get hitboxes up. This minecart is in between these 2 hoppers here, which allows this minecart to deposit 2 items at a time instead of 1, and it's essentially the same with all of these minecarts. And then this is just a dropper clock essentially, so we've got comparator comparing if the dropper's got any items in, and then we're just using a dropper clock after that. And then it's the same on the other side. So the items go down into these cobwebs, which align them into the center of a block essentially. And because we've got 4 and we want them to get to 1 block, we need to do some piston trickery. So these 2 pistons will push all the items that fall down on these 2 blocks across. So if an item falls on this block, then it will just fall down onto that furnace and then get pushed away. But then if it falls down to this block, you'll see in a minute, that piston will push it and then it will fall down like so. And then you just saw this piston with a slime block fling it over to there. And then this, we're using a bit of string with an observer to detect anything that comes down this way. It's going to be an item 9 times out of 10. And then that gives it enough delay so that this piston can shoot it off, and then we store the item. So this is quite simple redstone. We're just using a bit of delay to power the piston, and then we're just using some basic item filters. So one thing I should probably mention is this is the clock that we're using for the timings of the pistons, just because it's essentially a lot easier to run everything from a clock than it is to run individual redstone with observers and stuff like that, because sometimes it's just easier. So I could have used a hopper clock here, but I like these clocks, so I decided to use one. They're going to be popping up a lot more in my redstone videos for whatever reason. I know this is like the really old school clock, but hey, I feel like going back to 2012 Minecraft. And yeah, so as you can see, this goes down here, powering this piston that flies the blocks over to align them with that chest. And then it also powers these pistons as well, that just align the items. And then this piston is powered by this observer, as you can see there. When the item passes through this string, it gets flung off like that. And then these are just item filters, essentially the Impulse SV item filters. One thing you want to be aware of though is you need more than, I'd say, about 5 slots for gold nuggets, because that's the one you're going to be getting the most of. You'd be okay with just 1 slot of gold ingots, but you might want to double that to 2, like I've got here, and then the rest you probably won't want to keep, but it depends whether you want to keep the swords and smelt them down into gold nuggets again or not. I personally don't think it's worth doing, because you don't really get that well. You get too many swords to even bother, and it just clogs up the system half the time. So that's the reason why I don't bother doing that. And also at the end, when these item filters get full, you can always just put flint and steel there and burn everything else that you don't need, essentially. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked this video and learnt something out of it. If you do want me to do a tutorial on this farm, then be sure to put it in the comments. Just type in tutorial or something along them lines, and I will be happy to do one for you. But I just thought that I'd showcase this farm beforehand to see how things go, because I'm really proud about this. So with that, thank you very much for watching. My name is MightyHigh. If you like this video, then please click the like button, and if you really liked it, then click the subscribe button and ding that bell for further uploads. I've been MightyHigh, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.